I'm so happy to be here and with all pastors and leaders. I actually just arrived this morning from Shanghai. I thought I was going to be really, really tired, but right now I'm feeling pretty good. Pretty good. Truly God's grace, truly the power of the Holy Spirit, and I also pray that may you all truly receive this word and be fired up. So today, I want to share a message. The title of the message is the genealogy from Noah to Abraham. Okay, so that's the message I want to share with you today. So let me write it on the board. There is an expression in Indonesia. It's called takal ayam. It means chicken scratch. So what that means is my writing is really bad. Okay, so please forgive me. I'm not as good as Dr. Joanna or Dr. Shin, but I try to write bigger and better. Okay, hopefully you guys can understand my writing. So the title is the genealogy from Noah to Abraham. Okay, and this is really amazing. And again, I hope you can receive much grace in this word. So today we're going to start. Let's turn to Genesis chapter 11, verses 10 to 26. Genesis chapter 11, verses 10 to 26. You can see it on the teleprompter, and let's read it together. Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 to 6. It says there, let's read it together. Okay, ready, go. These are the records of the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old, and he became the father of Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived 500 years after he became the father of Arpachshad, and he had other sons and daughters. And Arpachshad lived 35 years and became the father of Shelah. And Arpachshad lived 403 years and became the father of Shelah, and he had other sons and daughters. And Shelah lived 30 years and he became the father of Eber. And Shelah lived 403 years after he became the father of Eber. And he had other sons and daughters. And Eber lived 34 years and became the father of Peleg. And Eber lived 430 years and he became the father of Peleg. And he had other sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 35 years and became the father of Peleg. Peleg lived 209 years and became the father of Reu. And he had other sons and daughters. And Reu lived 32 years and became the father of Serug. And Reu lived 207 years and became the father of Serug, and he had other sons and daughters. And Serug lived 35 years and became the father of Nahor. And Serug lived 200 years after he became the father of Nahor. And he had other sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years and became the father of Terah. And Nahor lived 120 years and became the father of Terah. And he had other sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Amen. Okay, so to start, I want to write down all the names and numbers, and then we're going to be talking about that. Yes, it is long and it seems boring, but when you see the numbers, it's actually really amazing. Okay, once the numbers are there, and then you're going to see truly God's hidden message there. Okay, so let's go. Help me out, please. So I'm going to write the name here first. Noah. Is that big enough? Shem. Arpachshad. Shelah. Third. Okay. Reu. Just now, we read Genesis 11, verse 10:26. It says, Shem had Arphaxad when he was 100 years old, 2 years after the flood. And then from there he lived 500 more years, right? And then Arphaxad had Selah when he was 35 years old. And then he lived 403 more years. And then Shelah had Eber when he was 30 years old. Okay? And he also lived for 303 years after that. Eber had Peleg when he was 34, and he lived for 430 years after that. Peleg had Ru when he was 30, and then he lived 209 years after that. Ru had Serug when he was 32, and he lived 207 years. Why? What's the point? Okay. Serug is 30, and then he lived for 200 years. Nahor had Terah at 29, he lived another 119, and Terah had Abraham when he was 70. So that's what we got from Genesis chapter 11, verses 10 to 26, right? Okay. Genesis 11 is different from Genesis 5. How is it different? Because in Genesis 5, all the calculations are already given, right? This is begot is when they had sons, okay, when they fathered. And then after that, they lived after that, how much longer they lived after, 500 years, 103, and so on. But in Genesis 5, the lifespan of each generation was given. Okay? For example, in Genesis chapter 5, you'll see Adam begot Seth, Seth begot Enosh, and so on. Okay? And he says Adam had Seth when he was 130 years old. He lived 800 years after that. And then his total life was given 930 years, right? Genesis chapter 5, verse 3 to 8. You'll see all this. And then Seth had Enosh when he was 105. Okay. And he lived, sorry, 807. Okay, he lived another 807 years, and total life is 912. So all this was given. So this is in Genesis 5. So what this tells us is, God gave us this example here. And then all we have to do is follow and fill in the blanks in Genesis 11, right? Okay, He already gave us all this. He gives us a clue here. And all we have to do is answer, fill in the blank. From here we can see how long they lived, right? How long was their lifespan? From here we can see Shem lived 600 years. His total lifespan is 600 years. And then here, 438, 433, 464, right? 239, 239, 230, 148. Okay, this one, Terah, this is given actually. Okay, and we found he lived 205, right? This one is already given in Genesis chapter 11. Okay, and then how about Noah? How long did he have Shem? Okay, how long did he have Shem? We know from Genesis chapter 7 verse 6, the flood came when he was 600 years old, right? We all know that. And then here, Shem had Arphaxad 100 years, 2 years after the flood. Okay? From here, so that means during the time of the flood, you just subtract this. Shem was 98 years old during the flood. Then 2 years after the flood, he had Arphaxad. right? That's what's written. And so this is when the flood came. And we know Noah was 600 years old. So Noah had Shem when he was 502. Okay? And in Genesis chapter 9, verse 29, we can see Noah lived until 950 years old. Right? So all these numbers, this you have to find. This is given, that's given, and everything here you have to find. Right? You have to do the calculations, and you find these numbers. So what do you see when you see these numbers? What do you see? Takarayam? Do you see? Do you see chicken scratch? Or you just see numbers, right? You see numbers. Okay, but Reverend Abraham Park, he revealed these numbers and he put it in a chart. When you open up Genesis Genealogy, you open the cover, and you see the bar chart. And it's clear there. If you open it, then you can see how long the ancestors lived. Right? How long they lived, and today we learn Adam lived contemporaneously with Lamech for 56 years. Meaning, Adam was still alive up to the 9th generation, right? Up to Lamech. So through those bar charts and through the numbers, we can actually see how long those people lived and lived up to who? Up to whose time? Okay. So same thing, from this, we can see how long they lived, when, and some of them they have shorter lives. And from there's something here hidden that God wants us to know. In Deuteronomy 32:7, that's the theme verse that we use for the History of the series. Again, I think Dr. Chin mentioned it this morning. Moses, he was speaking to the second generation Israelites. They were ready to get into the land of Canaan. And before they entered land Canaan, he told them, Deuteronomy 37, remember the days of old. Consider the years of all generations. He wants them, because he's not going to go with them to the land of Canaan. Right? He cannot go there, so he had to remind them, hey, remember the days of old. Go back to the very beginning. Remember Adam's sin and he was kicked out. Remember the time of Noah, how the world was so sinful, and God had to destroy it, right? Remember all that. Remember Enoch. Remember the Tower of Babel. Remember all things. Remember how God rescued Abraham, took him out, made a covenant with him, gave him that land of Canaan. Remember all that. Remember how much you suffered in Egypt. 430 years you suffered so badly and God rescued you. Remember the 40 years you have to travel from Egypt to land of Canaan. You know how much you suffered there. Remember all that. Right? Consider the years of all generations. So that when you get there, you will always hold on to the Word of God. You believe in Him. You will always trust in Him. Right? So here, again, through these numbers. So again, Moses reminded them, remember the years of generations. And she was telling us, it's like remembering the genealogies. And from here, again, God is trying to tell us something here. Okay? And that's what I want to share with you today. Okay? Amen? Amen. Okay. So, the first thing you can see, alright, when you see how long they live, you see, what do you see? The first thing you see is shortened lifespan. Right? The lifespan got shorter and shorter. Okay? There's two places you can see. Well, all of a sudden, the lifespan got shorter. Okay? Two places. One, between Shem and Arphaxad. Okay? Let me write it down here. Shem. Arphaxad. Okay? And then the second place you can see there's another shortened lifespan is between Eber and his son Peleg. Right? Another shortened lifespan here between Eber and Peleg. You may not be able to see it here, but again, if you have a copy of the Genesis genealogy, you will see Reverend Abraham apart. First time in history, he organized this whole thing. He illustrated it, and from there you can actually see Eber actually lived a long time. He lived all the way to the grandson, great grandson, all the way. He lived a long life. So what's the problem here? We have to find out why. Why there's a shorter lifespan? Okay, we want to know why. What happened there? So first, we want to go over this part. Okay, why was lifespan shortened during these two generations? Okay. One thing you have to understand. Just throw it here. Noah, Shem was born before the flood, right? The flood came when Shem was 98. So they were people who were born before the flood. Everybody else, they were born after the flood. Okay. So from there it gives you a clue. Something must have happened. Something must have changed before and after the flood. Something going on here, and you have to find out. You have to consider what's going on. This flood is not just some region, it's the entire world, right? Catastrophic event, it's big, it's a big deal. Okay. So a few things happen. During that time, the earth, even the land, the topography of the world changed. Okay, so first thing that happened, the first thing that changed, the topography changed. Okay, in Psalms chapter 104, verse 8, it says, the water covers to the highest mountain. Okay. And then in Psalms chapter 104, verse 8, in 6 it says to the highest mountain. In 8 it says, mountains rise and valley sinks. Okay. So something happened. As the water rises up to the highest mountain, the world, everything moved, changed. In 2011, there was that tsunami in Japan. Remember that? There was a tsunami. And scientists were saying that tsunami caused a shift in that island, right? Some part of Japan shifted. And that was just the tsunami in that one region. Can you imagine this? The whole earth was covered with water, right? So there was that change during that time. What else changed? The length of days changed. Today, 1 year is how many days? 365 days. 365 days. Okay. But back then, it was not like that. Okay. The calendar was different. How do we know that? What's our basis to say that it was different back then? Okay. The clue is we can find it in Genesis chapter 7, verse 11. Genesis chapter 7, 11. Is when the flood water came, right? And that happened when? It says in Genesis chapter 7, verse 11, Noah was 600 years old. In the second month, 17th day, the flood water came. And then, when we look at Genesis chapter 8, verse 3 to 4, okay, it's on the TV, so let's read it together. Genesis chapter 8, verse 3 to 4. Ready? Go. And the water receded steadily from the earth. And at the end of 150 days, the water decreased. And in the 7th month, 17th day of the month, the ark rested on the mountains of Ararat. Right? So it says there, water receded, and it was 150 days. When 150 days? When it was the 7th month, 17th day. Okay. From the 2nd month, say 17 days, to the 7th month, 17 days, you notice it's 5 months. Okay. But here, 150 days. So per month is 30 days. From there, you can see a month 30 days. A year is 360 days. Okay. But today, we have it 365 days. So from there, you see something changed. Right? It's no longer the same as before. And then thirdly, what else changed? Climate change. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 7, it says God separated the water above and the water below, right? He said he separated the water. And you can see that at that time, the environment was really good for mankind. You see, when we study Genesis 5, you see how long all those forefathers of faith, they lived very, very, very long. Right? Long life. The average is 912 years. Very long, because everything is very good. It's favorable to them. There's the canopy of water that protect them from the sun ray, right? From the UV rays. And then they were able to live so long. Okay. Remember the Exodus, when they were in journey? What really helped them so that they do not get burned in the desert? The cloud. Yeah, the cloud. For 40 years, God sent a cloud for them, and they go, and they don't die in the desert. Can you imagine living 40 years in the desert? The desert is so hot, maybe one day you probably collapse already. For 40 years, they made it all the way to the land of Canaan. Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 19 to 21. That's in Nehemiah chapter 9, 19 to 21. It says, the pillar of cloud with them for 40 years. Their clothes did not wear out. Their feet was not swollen. So, for 40 years. So that means they don't have to change their clothes. It did not wear out. Clothes wear out when you sweat a lot, right? The more you sweat, the more your clothes wear out. So, but they're nice, they're cool. They don't have to sweat, they don't sweat, and the clothes don't wear out. So God can do that, right? He can protect you, and everything is good. And you can survive in the wilderness for 40 years. But what happened? What happened here during the flood time? Right? Remember before water above, water below was separated. But during this time, what happened? Those two waters came together and flooded the earth. Okay. Yeah. Let's turn to Genesis chapter 7, verse 11. Okay. Let's put there. The 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, on the same day, all the fountains of the great deep burst open, and the floodgates of the sky were open. So, a lot of times when we think about Noah's flood, it's always from the top, right? Always raining from the top. But actually, the water from below, from the deep, it burst open. And the floodgate of heaven, it came down, and it flooded the entire world. Right? So the water above, water below, it all came together. So that water that used to help mankind, allow them to live a long life, a good life, like Adam's descendants. But now, it's no longer protecting mankind, right? It's no longer beneficial. The more the climate change, the more man get weaker and weaker, right? We get troubles, we get sick. Okay. So here the flood water covered the earth, and the earth tilted, and and it gets closer to the sun, gets further away from the sun. Now the weather, the climate becomes extreme. We have extreme hot, extreme cold now in this world. Some places minus 60 degree, some places plus 60 degree, very hot, very cold, right? And that's not good for mankind. My elder in Shanghai, and I also have a deacon in Shanghai, they're in biotech, and they do research on human cells. Okay. And one time a deacon came over to church and he says, wow, human cells, so amazing. The good cells, they can attack the bad cells. You don't have to tell them what to do. Nobody command them, but they just automatically attack the bad cells. So amazing. He said our human body is so perfect and so awesome. God really made us good. God is so awesome. And that's what he said. And then also a long time ago, my elder, who's also in doing cells, he said, to store the cells, when you store cells, you cannot go above or below 0.3 degrees Celsius. For it to be, always to store it nicely, you cannot go above or below 0.3 degree. Okay? If you go more or below, the cells will get older, grow older quicker, will grow old, and the cells will grow weaker. Okay? So imagine 0.3 degrees, but imagine us, right? Our weather up and down, of course not in Singapore. Singapore only have one season, hot. But other places, we have 4 seasons, right? And we know this to be true, especially for my kids. When the season change, they get sick. Flu, allergies, whatever, they get sick when the season change. Okay? Because our body, when it's perfect temperature, then we get strong, then we're okay. But when it change, right, we get sick. Okay, our cells cannot take it, right? So here, again, during this time, the climate change, and then from here, you can assume right there, because of all those big change, lifespans got shorter. Okay? So between Shem, who was born before the flood, and Abraham was born after the flood. Okay? Something happened there. Okay? And then, of course, the reason for the flood is sin, right? Because sin, it covers the entire world. Then God judged the world, right? And sin came and flooded the world. Okay? Isn't it the same today? Yeah. It's covering, right? It's really covering the earth. Everywhere you go, you see sin. Now people actually change things that we know is bad, but now people say, oh no, that's good. That's okay. In America, in the US, now it's cool to marry the same sex. It's cool. It's okay. Celebrities coming out and they just do whatever they want and they marry, and when they do that, they're cool. But when you say it's wrong, you're the bad one. Right? You are old-fashioned. You don't know what you're talking about. You're outdated. Right? And so everything's changing. It becomes so bad right now. It's almost like that. Okay? Everything's so bad and evil. Okay? So sin, shorten life. So let's go with this one. What happened here? Why was it also shortened? Between Eber and Peleg. In Psalms 55, verse 23. Psalms 55, verse 23. It says, man of bloodshed and deceit will not live half their days. You're evil, you're wicked, you don't even live half your days. It's really scary. Okay? And Proverbs chapter 10, verse 23, it says, the fear of the Lord prolongs life. But the years of the wickedness, of the wicked people, they will be shortened, right? So if you fear the Lord, right, your life is long. But when it's wicked, then it will be shortened. So from here you see something happened here. What sin did they commit? They must have committed sin. There must be wickedness here. for life to be shortened like that. Okay. So what sin happened here? What sin happened here? During this time, only few years, 100 years, 200 years after the flood, man again sinned against God. At this time, they built the Tower of Babel. Right? They built the Tower of Babel. Why? They built this city for themselves. It says it's written they want to build it for themselves. They want to build a tower that reaches the tops of heaven, right? All the way inside the heavens. They want to make a city for themselves, make a name for themselves, and they want to reach heaven. In Genesis chapter 11, verse 4. So here, Genesis 11, verse 4, the reason he says why they want to do it is first, they want to make a name for themselves. And secondly, why they build this is they don't want to be scattered. They want to stay together, they don't want to be scattered. But this thinking is not right. We are created to glorify God, not ourselves. We don't make a name for ourselves. We lift up God's name. Right? Isaiah 43 verse 7 says we're created for God's glory. But these people want to make a name for themselves. Right? Even after they probably knew about the story, what happened. But men are so quick to forget. They went and they go the opposite, right? And then they don't want to be scattered, they said, right? But even that is against God's will. Because after Noah and the family came out, God blessed Noah and says, be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth. Not just stay within your area, right? Go be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth. And here they build a tower. Maybe they're thinking, what if the flood comes in again? Now we can reach heaven, so even when the flood comes in, we will not be scattered. We can stay together, we can live, we don't have to die. Right? Really, it's really scary, right? Another thing we could say about all the way to heaven is, it's almost like they try to reach salvation on their own strength, on their own power, on their own thoughts, instead of God's grace. So the question is, that time, do you think God sits still? No, right? We know the story. What happened? He confused the language, right? And he scattered them. Confused the language, scattered them, and so they cannot build. Someone asks for wood, and someone else brings them straw. They can never finish. They get frustrated. Same thing with me. I mean, I live in China. I'm Chinese Indonesian, but my Chinese is really bad. When I speak, people laugh, they don't understand. And I get so frustrated, I get so embarrassed, I keep quiet. I don't even say anything. Because they would just laugh at me, and then I will feel bad. And so instead of progressing, instead of my Chinese getting better, it's actually getting worse. One example, what I said, I asked someone, is there any good movies out there? In Chinese, right? Blockbuster. Any blockbuster going on the movie theater. Blockbuster in Chinese is 大片. And even now I think I'm saying it wrong, I don't know. But then, to them, I said 大片. Okay, so they laugh. I said, why are you guys laughing? Because 大片is one is blockbuster, and the other one is big doo-doo. So I'm asking them, any good doo-doo? any good one? So they laugh. So I get so low self-esteem, and then quietly frustrate me, and I don't want to say. Same thing. If they want to build this grand building, and then they just confused, they cannot, and they get frustrated, and God made them stop this work and scatter them. Right? So the question is, how do we know it happened during this time? I said it's this time, right? But how do we know for sure? We know it's in this time because it says during Peleg's time, the earth was divided. Okay? Genesis chapter 10, verse 25. it says, in his days, it says right there, and 2 sons were born to Eber, and the names of the one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Jotham. In his days the earth was divided. What happened during that? God scattered, and they were all divided. Okay. And then for the fact that his life is so short, so much shorter than his dad, we can assume that he is probably someone who actually participated in the construction of Tower of Babel. Okay. But you have to understand something. During this time, all these people, they were alive. They are all still living. Can you imagine Noah seeing this? Do you think he would say, go ahead, let me help you. I built the ark, I know how to do it. I can make you a big building. Do you think he would do that? No, he wouldn't, right? Noah is someone who's righteous, who's blameless, who trusts in God. And all these people, forefathers' faith, do you think they would help Peleg? No, they would not. Okay. And then they probably said, please do not sin. Remember what happened during the flood. If you go against God, nothing will be well. You think it will go well, but it will not be well. You think everything's going to be okay, but it's not. So, here, during this time, again, it says the earth was divided. Okay? So, do you think all these people, those who have longevity, Noah, Shem, do you think they want to build, also live in the area where people sin? No, they would not. Okay. Let me get it. Can you wait until finish? Okay. So here, what happened is, so this is what I'm drawing here. Sorry, my writing is like chicken scratch. Okay, you cannot see it?
Yeah, very good at the top letters.
Oh, okay. This is the sea, Mediterranean Sea. You have the Sea of Galilee, Jordan River, and the Dead Sea. And you have the Euphrates River, the Tigris River. And this is Ur of Chaldea. This is the land of Shinar. This is supposed to be where the Babel, Tower of Babel, all around here. Okay. And then here, Eber and all these people, again, they probably do not want to participate in the Tower of Babel. And then Eber, someone who crossed the river, and he went to an area in Haran, and he moved away. He doesn't want to commit a sin, right? If you stay around, then you might also end up doing the same thing. Okay, so they move. This is around here. So around this area, they move. The name Eber means cross the river. Okay, that's the meaning Eber. He crossed the river. And then from the name Eber, it's the same root word as the name Hebrew. Hebrew, Eber has the same root word. So it shows us that Hebrew, there are people who also cross the river. The people of Hebrew also cross the river. Okay. So where do they go? How do we know they go around this area? How do we know they travel? They could have traveled anywhere. Anywhere, right? This is Ur, and they could have gone anywhere. How do we know that they probably around here? Okay. Because in the northern Euphrates, around Haran, there's a place called Aleppo. And around there, archaeologists did an excavation, and they found lots of clay tablets there. Okay, they found a lot of clay tablets there. And then when they dated the tablets, they dated it's around 2300 BC. And then from there, they assume it's probably around the time of the Tower Battle. Okay. And then when they study the tablets and when they decipher it, they found out this nation around that time, there are nations who believe in the God of heaven. They see it, they decipher it as someone who believes in the God of heaven. And then when they found out the name of that kingdom, nation, is Ebla. And again, they decipher it and they found out, oh, the ruler there, his name was Eber. Okay. So right there, it's assumed that here, they went here, and they established this kingdom, the kingdom who believe in the God of heaven. Okay. And it says they were a prosperous kingdom. They don't want to stay with the ungodlies. They travel, and then it's a place again where they establish and become a prosperous kingdom. Okay. So we know Noah for sure, he doesn't want to commit sin. Shem, who also witnessed the flood. And from the longevity of Eber, he crossed the river. So all these, we assume that all these people do not want to stay around that area. But through the short lifespan, we can assume that these people, they stayed behind. Right? They stayed around the Ur of Chaldeans. And then as they stayed, they got worse and worse. Right? They faith, they cannot preserve their faith. They want to preserve their faith. They leave, they want to preserve their faith. But these people, they stay and they become more and more wicked. How do we know that? Because the Bible records Terah became an idol worshiper. Right? He became someone who worshipped idol. Joshua chapter 24, verse 2. Joshua 24, verse 2, he says, Terah, idol worshiper. But according to tradition, rabbinical traditions, not only was he an idol worshiper, okay, he was actually someone who sells and makes and sells idols. So he was an idol maker and he promotes idolatry. So here the descendants, they stay and they become worse and worse, and then here he is someone who, again, at the end, worship idols. They cannot preserve their faith. Again, we studied the genealogies 5:11. Do you think God would just sit still and let them go, doing the wicked and evil? No. Our God is the God. He's the God who redeems. God is the Redeemer, right? And He took out. He called out Abraham. He says, "Get out. Get out from this country. Get out from your relatives. Get out to a place where I will show you." Right? He told Abraham. He chose Abraham. He got him out. But the funny thing is, Terah also went out. Right? He also went out. Actually, the Bible says he took Abram, Sarai, and Lot. So he took lead. Abraham's the one that received the calling, but Terah took action. When he went and he left. Genesis chapter 11, verse 31. So it says, Terah took Abram, his son, and Lot, son of Haran, his grandson, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, his sons, Abram's wife, and they went out together from Ur of Chaldeans in order to enter Canaan. And they went as far as Haran. So it says, right? Their journey, they wanted to go to Canaan, but they ended up in Haran. Okay? So from here, you can see that God called Abraham. We can see that in Acts chapter 7, verse 2 to 3. Acts 7, 2 to 3. Deacon Stephen here said, the glory of God appeared to Abraham and called him out, get out from this land. Go to the land I will show you. Leave your country, leave your relatives. Right? So Abraham received this. And he left. He moved. The whole family moved. Terah, Abram, Sarai, and Lot, they left. And they went, they're heading for Canaan, but they ended up in Haran. So that means Abraham, someone also crossed the Euphrates rivers, right? He crossed the Euphrates River. That's why Abraham is also known as the Hebrew. Hebrew people are the one who crossed the river. In Genesis 14, verse 13, it says Abram is a Hebrew. So, okay, so we have the godly, we have the ungodly. So the reason is, again, God chose Abraham. He took him out and goes to Haran. So now the question is, why? So what? Why, right? Why do all this work? And what's even more amazing is Noah. When we look at the calculations, he lived all the way to the time of Abraham. It's really, really amazing. In Genesis 5, when someone say, oh, Adam lived all of the 9 generations of Lamech, people will say, who? Who's Lamech? But when people tell you, oh, Noah lived all the way to Abraham, they're like, wow, that's amazing. Because Noah is, it's famous, right? They make movies out of him, in children's book, the flood. They know Noah. And they know Abraham, right? The story, Abraham, trying to sacrifice Isaac to God. So they're famous, so they're, wow, really? They live around the same time, Noah's still alive? But he was still alive. Again, how do you know? How do you know? How do you know that they're still alive? By calculating, right? When you add all the numbers, okay, then you will see that Noah and Abraham lived. He was still alive with Abraham for 58 years. Sorry, how much time do I have? Okay. Okay, good. Okay. So let's do the calculations. So since I have time, let's do it. Okay. So what we do is we add up all the numbers. I need your help this one because it's really long. So please, if you know it, please help me out. Noah had Shem when he was 502. So when Shem was born, Noah was already 6. Sorry, when Shem had Arpachshad, one of it, Noah was already 602, right? And then when Arpachshad had Selah, Noah is already 637. And when Shelah had Eber, Noah was already 667. And then when Eber had Peleg, Noah is 701. Is that right? Okay. When Peleg had Ru, was already 731. So what I'm doing is I'm just adding the numbers, right? 502 plus 100, I'm just adding the numbers. Okay. So here I had 732, 63, 793. What is this? 822. And plus a 78, 92. 822 plus 70 is 892. Okay, so that means when Abraham was born, Noah was 892 years. But we learn how long did Noah live to? 950 years. Okay, Genesis chapter 9, verse 29. It says, Noah 950 years. So 58 years. So Abraham was alive, and Noah was also still alive, okay, for 58 years. And that is, again, that's really amazing. Reverend Yahoan Elnitiarta really in Genesis genealogies, and it's again the first time. Okay. And there's actually an easier way to count it. This is, I don't like big numbers. And big numbers, and sometimes I get wrong, but actually there's an easier way to calculate this. And you calculate this through starting with the flood. You have the flood as a starting point. Okay. How long did Noah live after the flood? In Genesis chapter 9, verse 28, he lived 350 years. 350 years after the flood. And same thing, you add. So after the flood, Shem, 2 years after the flood, he had Arphaxad. So you add it up 2 plus 37. You add it up, and you will get 292. Okay. And so 350 years minus 292. Again, of course, you will definitely get the same number, 58 years. But you use the calculation from starting the flood. Okay, small numbers, easier to count. Okay. So why? The question is, why did God enable Noah to live so long, all the way to Abraham? Why do you think he lived so long all the way to Abraham? Of course, to pass down that faith. Noah, he is someone who lived even before the flood, right? He is someone who received the word from his father Lamech. Adam passed the word to Lamech. Lamech was able to pass that word to Noah. Right? All the things Adam, did, all the things before the fall, then passed down to Lamech. And he passed down that seed of the woman, the promise that God will come, the seed of the woman will come and redeem, crush the head of Satan. Lamech believed that, right? He really believed that because he named his son Noah. Noah means rest, and he said it right there. He hoped that this son is the one that will give him rest. So Lamech was hoping that this is the seed of the woman. Hopefully, he named him rest. Hopefully, he will be the one that give us rest. Okay. So that faith was passed down. Plus, Noah heard about Adam. He heard about Enoch transfigured. And not only that, he knew about Methuselah. Why Enoch named his son Methuselah? Methuselah means when he died, judgment comes. And he really witnessed that. Right? The time when Methuselah died, flood water came, right? Tradition says 7 days Methuselah died. After that, when he died, God told him to get into the ark. And then flood water came. So he was able to see that. He was, wow, what God said, God's word is true. Right? And he's someone who firsthand know that, and he was able to live all the way to Abraham's time, and he could pass that faith. Okay? He could pass that faith, all the knowledge to Abraham. So the question is, now, the big question is, did they meet? It doesn't make, all this stuff doesn't matter if they don't meet. If he cannot pass the faith, then it's useless, right? But he had to pass that faith down. Just like Abraham, it says Abraham was chosen in Genesis 18, verse 18, 19. He was chosen, he was blessed by God, so that he can pass down justice and righteousness to his children. It was that job. It's our job. Our job is to pass the word of God to the next generations, right? Our job to pass the word of God to the congregations. So here, Noah, he's blameless, he's righteous in God's eyes, he did everything God commanded, and that faith needs to go to Abraham. So the question is, did they meet? And not just Noah, all these forefathers of faith. If they, they already left, today didn't Abraham meet them? So there's conditions. For them to be able to meet, the first condition is Noah needs to be alive. He needs to be still alive. But we know they lived contemporaneously for 58 years. Right? So he's still alive. So that condition is good. Okay, so that's possible. Second condition is they need to be in the same region. If they in the same region, so there's a big possibility that they can meet and he can pass out, he can tell a story to his great grandchildren, grandson. Hey, this is what happened. But we just the map here. We said that Noah and all these people, they don't want to stay here. They left the earth, ever crossed the river, established a kingdom called Ebla, right? He don't want to stay, so they're not in the same region. So does it mean that they still meet then? Did they meet? And again, the answer is, yeah, it's possible. Why? Because remember, God called Abraham out, go to Canaan, right? And we where Terah took lead, went all the way to Haran, and he stayed there. And that's probably a reason why they stayed there, because that's around the region where the relatives lives there, right? The ancestors of faith, all those people, they probably lived there and they moved there. Okay. They moved to around that area. So yes, they moved, and it's possible again. So it's possible for them to meet. The third condition is Abraham had to leave before he's 58. Because he's 59 years old, Noah would have been dead already. So he had to leave before he's 58 years old. Okay. So is that possible? Okay. It is believed that when God confused and scattered the people, it is believed that that's also when Abraham, Terah, they all left. Okay. God confused the people. And tradition has it that when Peleg died, he was somewhat persuaded. Construction also stopped. And that's when the time when the earth was divided. So can you imagine this? Okay? God confused and scattered, and Peleg died, and Abraham witnessed that. He must have been really, really shocked. How is my great-grandfather, how did he die so young? He must have been really shocked. They lived contemporaneously, right? They lived, when he was living, they lived. Okay, Abraham lived. They actually lived contemporaneously for 48 years. Again, through calculations, you can see when Abraham was born, Peleg was still alive for 48 years. And after Peleg died, who's the next person who died? His grandfather died. Okay. He lived a total of 148, right? So he had Terah when he was 29. And Terah had Abraham when he was 70. So this is 99. When you subtract 148 to 99, you got 49. So when Terah and Abraham, they lived 49 years, they lived together, right? He was still alive. 440. Yes. Okay. So again, he must have been really shocked. Died early. The grandfather died early too, right? The year right after he died. And then, but let's think about this. Okay. When we think about Genesis 5 and Genesis 5 and Genesis 11, who was the person that died before Peleg? Who was the last person that died before Peleg? In this generation, he is the first person that died. But who was the person that died before Peleg? Methuselah. When he died, judgment, right? When he died, blood came. So he was the last person. Methuselah, he lived a very long life. 969. Long life. And we learn Genesis 5, those generations, the average is 912. Not including Enoch. He was transfigured, right? But it's 912. So they live a long life. So even they passed the flood, there's no reason for them to think that they will not live a long life. Right? Nobody died yet. Yes, I said earlier, climate change, this change, whatever, a shortened life, but they didn't know that. They were all still living. You understand what I mean? They all still didn't know what's happening. They didn't know it's harming their body or whatever. They didn't know that. They were living. And then suddenly he died at the age of 239. The last one was 969. So it was probably a great shock for Abraham and all the families here. Right? How could he die so young? And then not only that, this one died so young. To put it to today's term, let's say if people live 80 years. Let's say you have your genes, your ancestor genes is longevity, 80, 90, whatever, all long. And you expect, okay, my forefather genes, everything, parents, all have long genes, okay, I'm going to live long. Right? You already think, okay, you have the genes. But to put this in perspective, for him to die at 239, it's almost like today's term, he would die at 20, if everybody is at 80. Okay? And for today's term, in this time, 148, it's almost like he died at the age of 12. It's a shock, right? You have your ancestors live so long, everybody, and then, all your grandparents, and suddenly somebody in the family died at 12. It would have been a huge shock for you. Okay? And that was probably a great not only to Abraham, but to Terah, right? His dad died so young, according to their thoughts. Right? His dad died so young, he would have been shocked. He said, how could be next? What's going on here? Is this a curse? Maybe they're right. Maybe all those Noah, all they saying, do not sin, maybe they're right. Maybe we shouldn't be here. People against God, then their life will be short. The wicked will be short, so maybe they're right. So and we know that he took the initiative, right? Genesis 11:31, he took Abram, Sarai, Lot. He went to Haran, right? Remember, if it's you, what will you do? Let's say someone, your ancestors tell you, not sin, they went away, and something bad happened to you. The moment you think, they're right, let me go to them. You probably heard the story, they're still living. All these people, Peleg died, Noah died, but the ancestors of faith, they're still living, and they live prosperous. Automatically, you're like, okay, I want to go to them. Maybe they're right. So they went to Haran. Again, this is around the area where Eber and ancestors, we assume that they're all around here, right? And then, as they went here, what happened? Terah's comfortable. He delayed. Terah means delay, postpone. Name Terah means delay, postpone. God told him, no, go to Canaan. But he delayed there. Why? Very comfortable. He has relatives there. Right? The land is prosperous. It's already so good to me. It's already good. At least I'm away from the land of idolatry. I'm the land where people sin. Okay, I'm going. It's okay. So they stayed here. They delayed. They're comfortable, right? The forefathers there. So he's good. But this is actually very scary. This is like what? This is like someone who leaves the sinful world, leave the land of idolatry. Let's say they leave and they go to church, but somehow they didn't make it to heaven. It's almost like that, right? You go here, and he's supposed to go to Canaan. Canaan is symbolic of heaven, right? It's almost someone, okay, I already let go of the worldly things. I come to church, but then they don't make it. Why? For whatever reason. Maybe they don't truly believe. Maybe they just come because everybody's coming. They don't really receive the word. They don't really have faith. They don't really hold on to the word of God. They don't really hold on to God's word. I don't know. Okay, they're there, and that's really scary, right? A lot of people like that. A lot of Christians like that. They say, "Hi, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian." You know, you go everywhere. I'm a Christian. It's in the U.S. I'm a Christian. You go to church. What church you go to? Oh, I don't go. God's in my heart. I don't go. Say it with their mouth. They say they believe, but there is no action. Okay. So again, when Peleg died, Abraham was 48 years old. And then the year after that, 49, Nahor died. So again, like I said, it was probably a huge shock for them. And he probably wanted to get out as soon as possible. So it's very possible that around this time, they left. If this is the case, then yes, he could have been with Noah, right? Because Noah lived until 58. So all of this happened, and Terah scared, he took the lead, and he left even here. Then there's still a chance for them to meet. Not only that, they're still all alive. Shem, Arpachshad, all alive, but they're all still alive. So there's a chance for that faith to be able to pass down to Abraham. Okay, very, very high chance for that to go to Abraham. And then again, like I said again, Terah delayed there, and then because Terah delayed, then God called him the second time. God called Abraham the second time. Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. This time God said, "Leave your country, leave your relatives, and leave your father's household." Okay. Now something else is added there. Leave your father's household. Okay. Relatives. What relatives? If they don't live here, what relative would they have? The one that left from here, it was written, it was Lot, Abram, Sarai, and Lot. Right? 4. But here God says, leave the relative. Who are the relatives? Because why? Sarai and Lot went with Abraham. They went down to Canaan with Abraham. So if they're not there, then who is those relatives, right? So there's the relatives. God says, leave your relative, leave your father's household. Go to the land I will show you. But this time, Abraham, his faith was strengthened, right? He was there, he was living there until he was 75. The Bible records Genesis 12 verse 4. He left, and he probably when he was 75 years old. He left Haran. So his faith might be strong, and this time he was able to leave the father. And then when he arrived to the land of Canaan, God was so happy. God was so happy with Abraham. God says, this land, I'll give it to you. I promise it will be yours and your descendants. He went, he obeyed God's word, he entered Canaan, and God says, okay, all this land will be yours and your descendants. Okay. So I'll let you conclude now. So again, remember I said about, in the beginning I was talking about Moses giving that instructions to the second generations who were about to enter into the land of Canaan. And he said, remember the days of old, consider the years of generations. For them, remember. Please remember all this. Remember God chose your forefather. He gave the land, remember the land that you're going to right now? Is the one that God promised your forefather Abraham. That's your land. God promised you, go in there. Don't just delay. Don't think you're comfortable. Okay, I'm so good now, I'm well off. Oh, it's good, I don't want to go anywhere. That's not good, right? See, you may think right now, a lot of people in this world, they think, with their mouth, I believe in Jesus. I live a comfortable life. I live good already. Everything is good, and they just stay there. They say, that's good. God already blessed me. I just stay here, right? No, we have to strive, right? We have to know God's will. We have to get closer to Him. Right? John 73, we have to know Him, right? We have to really know, Gnosko. We have like a husband and wife. We have to know His will. We have to be one with God. So what happened there? Sure enough, before they entered into the land of Canaan, people are already starting to get relaxed again. They suffered for 40 years in the wilderness, and then they went to the plain of Moab before they entered into the land of Canaan. But the people already, they get comfortable. The tribe of Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh, they went to Moses. Moses, this land is already so good. The grass is green. It's good for our livestock. Give us land here. We don't need land in the land of Canaan. This is good enough for us. See, to them, they might stay in the wilderness for so long. When they see a little bit of green and when they see that, oh, this is beautiful, this is paradise. And they just want to stay there. But no. The promise is Canaan. That is better, right? No matter how good we live in this world, heaven is better. You maybe, you live comfortable, you're good already, everything is set, but no. Don't just settle. No, we have to move forward. We want to go into the land, the promised land. We want to go heaven. Again, our land, the land we want to go to is heaven. In Galatians chapter 3, verse 29. Galatians 3:29. It says, those who receive Christ, those who belong to Christ, then he says, then you are Abraham's offspring, heirs according to the promise. We believe in Jesus Christ. We are Abraham's offspring. We are Abraham's descendants. And we are the one who received the promise. Again, the land is not physical Canaan, but our land is the kingdom of heaven. And we want to go there. Okay. Cannot just sit still, cannot delay. So again, you have to remember. Remember Terah. He's so close, but he stayed there. Same thing with the tribe of Reuben, Gad, and half of Manasseh. They just want the land east of Jordan, when they're supposed to go to the land west of Jordan River. So please, again, believe God has already prepared us this land. He already promised us, He already prepared us. Do not just stay where we are. We have to move towards that goal. Okay. Matthew chapter 25, verse 34. Just tell a story. And he said here, one day all nations will be gathered. And God's going to put one to the left, to the right. And he says, go to the right. Go take that land. Inherit that land that God has already prepared for you. God already prepared everything for us. But we have to move. We have to go. We have to understand God's word. And we have to move forward. Okay, but please, not just yourself. We receive the word. We receive the word of redemption. Do not just go in by yourself. Right? We have families. We have friends, all those around us. You have congregations. You have to share the word to them. Share the word of redemption. And so that we all can hold hands and we can all go in together. Okay. Though not just ourselves, but all our flocks also. You pastors, leaders here, we have a great mission to pass down that faith, for them to understand God's word, and we together we walk in, we go in. So again, I pray that again we will truly understand, God's heart. We will truly understand God's love, through the history of redemption. We see it in Genesis 5, Genesis 11, and later on in next tomorrow we'll see it even more. Right? We'll see it more, and we see God's plan. He promised He will redeem, and He did. Right? He came and He died for us. So everything is all there already. We just have to move forward. I pray again that we really have that faith. We hold on to that. Help our friends, family, our congregations, and again together we move forward as one. Amen. Amen. Okay, so please may we be fired up. Okay, and just lift everything to our Father God. Amen. Amen.